Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Cities Skylines. So yeah, it's been a long kind of deliberation process over whether I was going to play this or not, and I finally put it to a vote and you guys said yes, you want to see some Cities Skylines. Now, I know it's an old game, but I've never really put in the time and effort to make something useful in there, and I was quite looking forward to getting back into it, especially with the announcement of Cities Skylines 2. So I thought, what better now that the game's support is kind of winding down and coming to an end after so many DLCs and stuff, than to have a little project. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing, and we're just going to be jumping through the basics today to get our first building blocks of the city set up. Now, as you know with Cities Skylines, if you've played it before, all of the cities are built within certain phases. So your first phase is very much a money-making phase, and you're likely going to demolish it all and start again when you've got a bit more funding in place, and certain things will be replaced over time. But my first idea is to build a wonderful little waterside residential area on this side of the map, and then have some light, well, heavy industry here that will eventually be demolished, because in the northern part of this map here, we've got some nice fertile ground that we're going to convert everything to farmland. We're looking to create a green utopia here after all, and yeah, we need to be very careful of that. I'm also just going to quickly show you my power tab here, because we've got some lovely space for our windmills that we're going to put in over on this side, keeping them nice and far away from our residents. So we'll pop them down first. Then our water, we're going to have a sewage pipe right here. Now, annoyingly, that's going to be at the end of a residential district, and we don't really like that, but it needs to be far away and against the flow of the water. Now, I could put that over here, but it would involve running pipes across the waterway, which is, I think, a little bit more expensive. We're then going to put our water inflow pipe right there, and then the first step, really, is to just get these all matched up and then distribute our power accordingly. So we'll run our power line all the way along the water's edge here, and then rather than run it along and obscuring the view of our citizens, we'll run it all the way up against what's going to be our main road going in, and then along the back of our residential area to there. That links up our power and our water, which is really good. Next, we need to plan out some roads. Now, this has always been a little bit of a difficulty for me, so what I want to do is I want to put down a one-way road that comes into our city all the way down here. We're then going to have the reverse going all the way up to here, and that basically links that up. Now, what I also want to do is, I'm not very good at designing roundabouts in the game, so I'm going to put down one of the stock ones, and this will delete our power cables for now, but, oh no, it won't. We can do that. That's good. Then we will remove these spindles coming off this roundabout. Roundabouts are important because they help your traffic flow a little bit better. So if we had this as just a basic intersection, we'd get traffic snarl-ups and stuff, which we don't really want. But then we'll have a little curve coming off the road here, and then another one coming off there, so that people can come off this roundabout and move straight on, get out of the city. And that is our basic kind of delivery of traffic for this early phase. Then we're going to run a curved, not a one-way road, a two-way road, with a sidewalk that goes into our first residential district. So we'll run this all the way along here, just to this area right here. I think that will do us for now. Then what we can do is we can run a straight road going up here, slight curve on it, and we'll create some nice curved suburban housing districts. We'll have it curve in again like that, and then keep going around. Now, this might be an issue for us at some point, because we're kind of expanding pretty quickly here. This is basically going to form up our first residential district, and then we'll have some nice roads that kind of sweep around, making some nice little streets. I'm leaving a lot of open space in there, though. And that's basically because I want to create enough space that if I need to run extra paths in here to create parks and stuff, I'm going to have that space available to me. The other thing we need to do is prepare our industrial areas. Now, this is going to be all one-way roads. Now, this might cause some time issues with our industrial trucks and stuff delivering, but for now, I'm not too bothered about it. We're just going to put a simple industrial area. It's going to be a little bit of a loop here. We'll have this run up to here, and one more, and then curve it round at a 90-degree angle, up again, and another 90-degree angle to bring it back round, and then we'll have this match up with our main road coming out of the city. Like this, and then it will curve round to there. But we also want to make sure that if these guys can't, you know, if they have to do that loop, they're going to want to go across here and just link back up with the other one-way road to go back down. And so it's a bit of a weird loop, but what we can do to counteract that as well is we'll put in a curved road here, just in case they take a wrong turn and need to loop back on themselves. And then we'll stick some singular one-way roads going straight through to finish it off. Now, we're not going to put anything in yet. The first step then is where we've got this power here is where we'll put in our first residential districts. And that's just going to save us a little bit of time in terms of waiting for our power to be delivered. We then need to finally hook up our water supply, so we'll run these water lines in here all the way around, just following the road, and then it will come to this area here, and I think we can run some directly across, just making sure all of our houses are covered in these streets. There we go. We've got a little bit of a gap in there, but that's okay. We'll just make sure that if we do end up putting houses in there, we hook that all up. Right, okay, let's flick to our cinematic camera and we will watch our city come to life. Okay, so our first residential occupants are moving in. And this kind of gives us an idea of where we're going to be moving to next time. So what we're going to do, we're just going to make some adjustments here to our electricity supply. I'm going to drop that down to 80%, and the same with the water, just to save us a little bit of money in the early game. Now, we will have to improve that again as we expand, but for now, that's a pretty decent start. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is we'll start eventually converting these into high-density roads that kind of match up with this area a little bit more. And what we want to do eventually is have this all become a two-way road rather than it just being a one-way road delivering traffic into the city, because then this main street will become a little bit of a shopping district, which at the moment, unfortunately, we could actually put some shops right in that middle there, but when cars come to park and stuff, it can become a bit of a nuisance in terms of the traffic. So what we want to do is we're just going to put in a little bit more residential to feed the new occupants here, and that should help us expand the power network out a little bit further. So we'll just have some nice ones coming along here just to finish occupying this area. There's some little gaps here I'm not going to fill with housing. And then what we want to do is we're going to put our first lots of commercial in this little area here. Now, I always like to do this. I don't know if it's like the perfect strategy, but I always like to put in a couple of small commercial lots in the middle of my residential areas. Next, we will start hooking up our industry. Now, this heavy industry will eventually be phased out in favor of the farmland, like I've already said, and it's just to get us a temporary start and bring some jobs, because the workforce is going to be the lifeblood of our city, and we need to make sure that our people have places to work. Now, obviously, we also need to hook this up to our power network, so we're going to run a nice power line from here all the way along, matching up with the main source of power in the city. Right to there, and then we need to provide them with some water. So, again, our water pipe will come all the way along. We don't have enough money, so we're going to have to hope that we can combat this deficit here. We've maybe grown a little bit too quickly there. We don't have any loans at our disposal yet, but as you can see, the money situation is starting to even out and we're about to come into profit. We just need to hope that our industry will hold out and not abandon their buildings due to a lack of water supply. that could be the death knell for us in the very early stages of the game, which I don't really want to happen. But as you can see, we are just about to go into profit. I think we'll do that before we go into debt, and that basically means we should be set and start making enough money to power up or deliver water to the industrial sector. There we go, we are now in profit. If we can actually reach the tiny town, I think it's tiny town milestone first, we will get a nice boost to our coffers. Now, ideally, I would rather have our water coming in before that all happens. But if we just have a look at what we need about 1,220 to get this water coming through. Now, do I have the taxes panel open yet? No. Again, I think that comes with the next milestone. Hopefully, though, we'll get there. We are just short of it, actually. I think it's 360 to get the first milestone, and we should get our taxes panel, which means we'll do a quick boost to the taxes of our citizens by increasing it by about 4%. And you can also see we've got some power outages, and I think this is it. There we go. We are now a little hamlet, not a tiny town, so we unlock taxes, loans, garbage, healthcare, and education and campus areas. Now, we could go straight for a recycling centre, but I think we would need to have a landfill at some point as well. I may actually take the risk and go with a recycling centre to start us off, and I'm also going to get a community school as opposed to an elementary school. Now, the community school has a smaller capacity for students, but it allows children to get a nice education, and it works as a nice alternative to it. It's a small and safe community school, and that will probably service us quite well in the early stages. An elementary school would be probably another step, but for now we'll take the community school, recycling centre and medical clinic, and we will try not to grow until we get those buildings put in place. Because if we grow too quick here, as you've already seen, it could result in disaster. But we have that linked up. We can now switch back over to our funding, and we'll just make sure that we boost the power back up to about 100%. We'll fully fund that now. But as you can see, we're going to need another windmill because the power that we're currently supplying still isn't enough. We could have them work overtime, I think, by adding more money to that, but for now, we'll leave it as it is. So let's speed things up so we get a little bit of money in, and our first step will be to make sure that the healthcare of our citizens is looked after. So here we have a medical clinic, and we will put that down next to our commercial area, which means removing a house, but that's okay. And then what we can do is we can just reduce the funding for our medical. We'll bring that down to about 80%. And eventually you won't do this because it'll be far too much to manage. So we'll reduce our healthcare down, and that should reduce our upkeep costs on those buildings. So we've got more demand for residential here, but for now, I just want to make sure that I'm making enough money. So we'll go back over to our taxes panel now. You can see everyone's at 9%. We're going to boost them to 14% for all of our zones, and that should see a nice boost to our income. The next step is going to be to sort out our garbage. So we are going to need to build our recycling centre. Now, the landfill site costs a lot less money. It's $4,000, but I want that recycling centre, which is $16,000. So I'm going to hope that the garbage doesn't build up too much, and we can just build that recycling centre as quickly as possible by bringing in some more money. It's all looking pretty good. It's been a decent start, and I think it's going quite well. You can see the traffic flow is not too shabby. It might be worth us, though, building another kind of off-ramp at some point to allow our industry to access those new areas. Garbage is starting to pile up, though, so I am a little bit concerned that we're quite short of that 16,000 target. So we may need to find a way to combat that. I think we're going to build a little road off here. No, it can't go there. It will need to go like here. We'll just build a small road coming down here. And then we will, unfortunately, have to put in our garbage there. Now, this was a one-way road, so I need to convert that back to a two-way. there. And now our garbage trucks will head out to work. I'll convert this to a two-way road as well, just to make life a bit easier. They should now just, yeah, they... now not using that one-way road, but a little two-way there will then lead into a one-way, so that's not too much of a problem. And then that should sort out our garbage issues. What I'd like to do eventually, though, is we'll swap that for a recycling centre. And then that should hopefully sort out the issues that we've got here. Next up, let's put in some more residential. Although, I'd quite like to wait until I get the school, which is going to cost me 12,000. Okay, so we'll have a school soon enough, and then we can answer that demand for residential. So I'm trying to grow a little bit slower because I always get to a point where I've gone a little bit too far. So we've got some abandoned buildings here that we're going to demolish and hope that we get some different industry moving in. And that they probably abandoned it due to a lack of workers. That's probably why that's happened. But that's okay because new industry will move in once we get a increased population. And what I'll do is we'll put in another row of housing along this area with some light commercial on the side here. In fact, let's start zoning that commercial now. Just some small shopping areas in and around the houses that are going to pop up here. We'll put a few more of those houses in, and then we'll run a little bit of a row along here, because we are almost at our elementary school now, so that's that's good. I'll put another couple of small shops on this side, and then in here is where I'll put my elementary school, which we can actually put in now. Community school, sorry. So we'll put the community school there, or here, there. That's a good location for it. Now, did I have these with sidewalks? Yes, we did. That's good. So we have our school. We have more houses going up. Got more demand for industry creeping in. We're making a nice profit, and we are ready to tackle our next milestone, which should come up pretty quickly, which will allow us to unlock our fire services, our police services, and I think we get something else as well, but I can't quite remember what that is. But with the money that we get from hitting that milestone, what I'll do is I'll build my recycling centre, and then we can start emptying this landfill because it's 2% full already, and I don't want that to be the case. Thankfully, though, we've done enough micromanagement in the early game to turn a healthy profit. We're making a nice amount of money per week, which is really, really good for us because that's what you need in the early game. You need to make sure you're making enough profit and not growing too quickly. And eventually we're going to expand out to our waterfront and have some really nice, hopefully high-value properties. The demand for residential areas is starting to come back up again. And let's just have a quick look at our elementary school. We have 127 students there, which is a nice number. We're about halfway. The students are dropping, though, for some reason. And how's our medical clinic looking? We got one patient, so actually what we could afford to do is drop down the money that we're pumping into our medical, and it looks like Worthy Village, yay! So we've got districts policies, a second loan, district specializations, service policies, police department emergency services, and then we can get our agriculture specialization, which is exactly what I'm looking for, because that means we can do away with this industrial area very soon. If we just open up our tab here and go to our natural resources, you can see we've got a bit of fertile land here, which we could actually use to begin our agricultural district. Unfortunately, it's patchy. Now, what does happen sometimes is if you have, for example, a agricultural zone here, they will start buying in products. Now, we don't want that. We want to be an export only, which is why I want to move into this area as quickly as possible and get my agricultural districts set up. We'll then completely demolish this industrial area, let nature reclaim it and the pollution evaporate, because as you can see, if we just open up our pollution tab, that is a heavily polluted area right there, and we don't want that at all. So we'll move everybody into this new agricultural district that we're building, but firstly, let's put in, next to our school, a police department and a fire station. And that will increase the happiness of all of our villagers and fulfill all of those needs. Now, we can actually afford to put in our first policy, which is smoke detector distribution. It costs 5 currency per building. Now, if we put that in, you can see our income drops a little bit. So that's not too bad. But for now, I'm quite happy to do that because it's going to increase the safety of our population when it comes to fire and stuff. We're also then going to buy our next tile over here, and that expands our city. Next, we're going to go to our tab here where we can look at our natural resources, and as you can see, we've got lovely stretches of fertile land there that we're going to start exploiting. Next then, we're going to bring in a new road. We're going to make it just a basic road for now, and just having a look at that tab again, we're going to bring our road up here. Just a small one to start with, we don't want too much. And then we will put this one going along here to, let's go here for now, and then link it back up with the road there. And then I want to run this all the way along to here, bring that down, and then we'll go with some larger sections here. We're out of money. And the demand for residential areas has come back, so we'll add in a few more here. And we are now at our waterfront, which is really good, so we can get some nice waterfront properties coming in there. So this area here, we are going to eventually zone it for agriculture. We need $800, pounds, whatever it is, to we're going to get that very soon. Come on. Almost there. Right, there we go. That goes in. And then one more road going all the way along here, which we will hopefully get very soon. And that should finish it off. So what we'll do is we're going to continue. We're almost at 1,000, which is probably the target I had for this episode. And we will have started up our city. And what I'll probably do is I'll just leave it running for about a year or two to build up some profit, so that when it comes to our next episode, we can actually continue making some developments. But that little farming district is going to be good, and you can see the taxes, they're starting to become unhappy, so we'll drop those down to about 12%, and we're going to fix it at that. We're not going to go any further below that. So next, rather than making a rash decision and just moving everything out there right now, I'm going to start putting in the infrastructure for this area, which is going to involve pipe work and all sorts of other stuff just to get us set up. And that's because I don't want to run out of money when this is happening, because if I kill the farming from the off, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Oh, we need some more power. So what I'm going to try and do is, I'm going to try and just increase the power budget and see if that gets us operating at a better efficiency and delivering power to our citizens. Yes, it does. Right, so increasing the power budget is actually better for us than putting in new sources of power. So that is good to know, and something that I've never really done. So quite nice to know that that is an option. Next, we need to deliver power to that area, and then we are going to be good to go. So the first step is going to be, we're just going to run this power line all the way along here. And then if we just make sure that our first farm and agricultural areas are right across from that, then we can actually start doing that. So let's bring up our zoning panel. We're going to create a new zone right here. And this is basically going to be painted on. And then we give this a specification, which is agriculture. It looks like it's given itself some sort of other specialization. Oh, no, it's the smoke detector one. That's why. Right. It's the mandatory smoke detector policy, isn't it? Yes, it is. Right. Okay, so smoke detector distribution is in there. Right. We've got the power. We've got the water. We are making a fair bit of money. So now it's time to put some more industry in here in the Smith district. So we're going to add that in now. We're going to put it all the way around that area there, and then it's time to de-zone all of this area here. And that's going to move that job market right the way out to another side of our city. We'll then let that recover, let the pollution vanish, and then we can carry on at a better pace. So we're going to remove all of the road from here. We're going to let this industrial recover as it moves out to the other part of the city. Demand for residential has dropped. We're going to Boost that funding for our power to 150%. Hopefully. Yep, that works. Good, good. Good. Everyone's got power now. And the money's back into profit. Woof. That was a close one. That was a very close one. But as you can see here, we have some nice money coming in now from our new industry. We've got some demand for commercial, so we're going to start expanding our commercial operations. We're going to throw down a little bit more commercial on this waterfront here, and then we're just going to leave that. And what's this? A new milestone by the looks of things. We have reached Tiny Town, and that unlocks a whole load of other stuff. Which means I think we should just leave it there for now, because we have reached a point where it's become a bit of a natural end to today's episode. So what I'm going to do is pop down one more windmill, because I'm seeing power issues creeping in. And there we have it. Right, okay. So we still have some power issues. No, they've now been sorted. That's good. And yeah, we're looking much better now. Okay. Profits coming in. We do need to rezone and get some new commercial and residential areas in. But before I finish, we're going to pop down our... we're not going to pop down our recycling centre, because we're still a little bit shy on the money for that. But I will actually do that now as soon as we get enough money, because we are starting to make that bank. That's it. We did it. 16,000. So we'll put this here. Now, I'm not sure if we can just directly start recycling everything. But if we empty this building to another facility, is that then going to move everything to there? I hope so, because that would be a very, very good idea. Don't have enough money to power the recycling centre, unfortunately. But we'll just have to... Yeah, we need a bit more money before we can actually do that. So let's speed things up again. We can at least power it, which is good. And then we just need to get some water coming to it as well. There we go. We can actually get rid of these pipes here. We don't need them. Okay, right, we are emptying this. It's now 9% full. Our garbage reserves there are nearly full though, so maybe we should just use a little bit of a combination of the two. So we'll stop emptying that landfill. We've got the recycling centre. Demand for residential areas is starting to increase, but we actually have a lack of jobs, so we are going to need to boost that residential now. So if I just start creating some smaller streets here. So we do have to sacrifice a couple of houses to make this happen. But it's worth it in the long run. I don't know if we're going to get any more residential in this area. So we kind of have to hope that this recovers from the pollution quite quickly. It is doing pretty well. And then we will build a second residential area. We could actually put one here as we move out towards the farmland. But because that's got quite a nice bit of fertile land there, I might not want to do that. But I think we'll just leave it there. We have reached a natural end. You can see, though, that the requirements for jobs, that we've got lack of workers in various areas here. So that needs to be sorted next episode. But, oh god, population decline. People are leaving the city now. Let's reduce our taxes a little bit. We'll go down to 11% on our residential taxes. And hope that we can fix this deficit very quickly. We are still making money though, so that's good. Right, let's have a quick cinematic mode as we finish off. So I hope you enjoyed this little welcome back to Cities Skylines. It's been fun. I've quite enjoyed getting to grips with the game again. I'm always okay with the early game, so that's not really been too much of a problem. It's getting into that mid game where I tend to struggle, and it's because I grow too quickly. So I'm going to be looking to do things a little bit differently this time. Next episode, we're going to try and consolidate things. We'll maybe do a little bit of adjustments to our current district layouts, and then we can really start trying to push the population. We're now a green city, everything is agricultural, and we don't have any heavy industry. We need that pollution to kind of come down, and then hopefully we'll be in a much better position to continue to expand. We'll get some parks in, we'll just work on increasing the land value of the district that we've got and tidying it all up. Like, obviously this has all been put down in a bit of a mishmash, so it would be nice to do a little bit of tidying to get everything back on track. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you for the next episode of Cities Skylines. Thanks for watching, bye bye.